Drake just released a brand new song recently called What Did I Miss? And the meaning behind it is so deep and intricate that I had to make a video, and I promise you have not heard this theory anywhere else. So stay tuned so I can explain to you what Drake is trying to say. So first of all, let's go off of the basis again that you might not have heard his new song, What Did I Miss? This song has basically exploded. People are super excited about it. It is supposed to be a part of his new album, Iceman. Now, according to some sources, Iceman may not be the name of the album. There's some discrepancy on that. But there are people saying that if it is the name of the album, great. If it's not, then it's a persona that he is embodying right now called the Iceman. So as you can see, there's several articles already about it. They call it Drake's next chapter. Drake's Iceman chapter begins with a new song, What Did I Miss? Beef, betrayal, and backstabbing. So let's be clear. The song has a lot to do with the whole beef that happened with Kendrick Lamar. Yes, we've heard this before. We know what's going on. We know that he's upset that people backstabbed him and made him feel lesser than himself. People that, in his own words, that he rose up and that he created, incredible careers for and handed out, different songs and features and stuff like that. Which, listen, if any of us have ever experienced anything like that, I am sure that it's painful, right? I am sure that, there's nothing that feels great about people backstabbing you and making you feel like you're going crazy. But we also have to keep in mind what Drake had going on at that time. So, in full perspective, we have to understand that these lyrics are coming from his internal space. So going forward, we know that this is what's going on. Now, what made this whole Iceman thing special is that this came from a live stream, not a regular music video that, you usually shoot on a camera and then you upload it. No. This whole thing happened on live stream. Now, the live stream, the way it took place was basically, it was him in a setup, in a freezer, actually. And I will go over that in just a minute. But the entire live stream actually took us on a journey between him at this shop and then him traveling and then driving around. And all we're doing the whole time is experiencing his music and listening to it, right? First part of the live stream, again, like I explained, was actually inside of this ice truck thing. It was like a shop, basically, that is for ice products, right? The shop is called the Iceman. It is actually in Toronto, funny enough. And it's called Iceman Toronto. So I don't know if his Iceman persona is connected to this shop. Does he have some sort of personal or emotional connection to this place? Nobody knows yet. We're all trying to figure that out. But this is what he's talking about. This is where he's at, okay? Now, the significance to this, actually, we don't find out until later on in the video. So if you go throughout the entire video, he's dancing, he's singing, he's, explaining himself and trying to get us to we're listening to this entire track, right? And so once you get to the end, though, the end is the part that I paid most attention to. Once you get to the end, you realize that there's this giant board that has these products and descriptions. You have the spears, the cubes, the squares, and this is all describing ice, okay? So again, these are ice products. These are things that this shop sells. And one thing I kept noticing, though, is that you would see the Iceman and then you would see 416, but they covered the rest of the phone number, right? Now, this just didn't make sense to me. Why cover the rest of the phone number? Listen, I was able to type in the Iceman Toronto and I found this immediately, right? The entire phone number is right there. You can Google it. It's easy, right? It doesn't take a sleuth to figure out what it is that the number is, okay? So it had to be another reason why 416 kept showing up. Because otherwise, why show the phone number at all? Why not just completely cover the phone number? Again, look at this. Look, this is another example, right? As you look at the trucks and stuff, you can see that they kept covering up the phone number, right? 416, 416. Why only show 416, but not the rest of the number, or just completely scrub out the number completely? I figured it out. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I am a massive comic book nerd. If you can see right here, you see my comic books right there, the little pictures and stuff. I'm a huge comic book fan. I've been reading comic books basically my entire life, right? This all connects very, very easily. Very easily. Watch this. So the Iceman, 416, I started racking my brain and I said, Iceman 416, Iceman 416. Why does this, my brain is like, what is going on here that it sounds familiar? And I figured it out. Here it is. Iceman made an appearance, the comic book character Iceman that we all know and love, okay, made an appearance on the Uncanny X-Men first series number 416. Follow me, follow me, follow me. This issue actually came out in February of 2003. And by the way, if you did not know this, Iceman, the character in the Marvel Universe, his name is Bobby Drake. What a coincidence. What a coincidence that the Iceman, the character that Drake is embodying, the character he's naming himself, the Iceman in the comic books is named Bobby Drake. Okay, so there's a connection here. Let's keep reading. In this series of, in this Uncanny X-Men series, keep in mind, this is the first time that Iceman appeared in the Uncanny X-Men. This is his first, like, debut in the comic book series Uncanny X-Men, okay? Not his first time appearing in comic books. Iceman's been around since, like, the 60s, okay? Like, that's not the case. But Iceman does show up for the first time here in the Uncanny X-Men series. Now, why is this important? It's important because I began to realize that the Iceman in the comic books had a very specific issue that he was addressing in this number 416 issue, okay? In this issue, Nightcrawler, which is another character, encounters Iceman, and Iceman's experimenting with his powers, right? Freezing stuff and, like, turning stuff to ice. And Nightcrawler asks if Iceman wants to accompany him and another character named Stacy X back to the X Ranch, or the X Mansion, as some of you may know. Check this out. The Iceman comments about the state of the X-Men and how it seems that anyone can hang around the X Mansion and calls themselves the X-Men. This is Iceman's primary issue within the comic book series, this first comic book page right here, okay? Iceman's primary issue here is that he feels that too many people can just show up and say, hey, I'm an X-Man. Hey, I'm at the X Mansion. I got mutant powers. Hey, look at me. I'm an X-Man. But what Bobby Drake, or Iceman, says very clearly is basically, I don't like the fact that people can just show up and say that they're an X-Man, because X-Men are family. We are a family. We don't just come about and just call ourselves X-Men just because. We went through something. We went through transformation. We went through, battles together. We drew blood together. Like, we are family. Why are people just walking up in here saying that I'm an X-Men when they're not? Right? And this is what Drake is trying to say in this What Did I Miss song. The entire connection is there, okay? Drake is explaining, Aubrey Drake Graham is explaining that I have gotten all these people in my camp, right? They've come to my mansion. They've come to my house. They've come to my parties. I befriended them. I created family with them. I thought they were my people, but come to find out, they're not. They're calling themselves a supporter of Drake when all along, all it took was a few dollars to get them to flip the script. All it took was a little bit of controversy to get them to run, turn tail, and leave my side. I believe that Drake is making a comparison here. This is why, going back to the connection, right? This is why I believe the entire truck, the 416 connection, is there. I believe this entire motif, the Iceman motif, connects directly back to the Uncanny X-Men, with Iceman here complaining about the X-Men. Now, I get it. A lot of people might see this and be like, all right, man, this is a huge stretch. What are you talking about? But you have to understand something. After everything happened with Kendrick Lamar and Drake, everyone kept saying how deep Kendrick Lamar's lyrics are, man. If you read those lyrics, you're in there. I did the same thing, man. I mean, you could really break down every single music video and the way he places the camera. And, oh, man, what does that mean? And what does that mean? And I thought to myself for a second, guys, it is possible that other rappers can do the same thing. Drake had all this time to calculate and to understand the motif and figure out how to connect these dots. Again, sure, we can call it a coincidence. that the 416 is shown here and the Iceman and all that stuff. And maybe, in your opinion, it doesn't connect to the X-Men at all and that storyline and everything. And maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter to you that the Iceman in the comic book's name is Bobby Drake and Aubrey Drake Graham is making this connection with the character. Maybe you can say that's not true. But the evidence is sort of right in front of us. Again, I beg the question. If there wasn't a connection, why didn't Drake and his team just completely take the number off the board? Why leave the 416? Why leave the 416? For what? There's no purpose. Just take the number out completely. They left it, I believe, my theory is that they left the 416 on purpose because it is an overall message. It connects back to the X-Men. It connects back to the X-Men. And I also find it kind of funny that the story title for this issue, number 416, is Living in a Mansion. Now, how often does Drake talk about bringing people to his mansion, right? Bringing people to the estate, right? Bringing people to his manor. He talks about it all the time in his music. Keep in mind, the X Mansion in the comic books is a mansion. And people go there, they congregate there because they are like-minded people. They are X-Men, some of them. So Drake, again, is making a connection saying, you guys are at my mansion, you're at my house, you are communing with me. But I, just like Bobby Drake, the Iceman in the comic books, I don't feel like you guys are really here. You're not really part of the team. It's that simple. Now, look, if you're a comic book fan like me, you also know that recently they have created a storyline where Drake, Bobby Drake, the Iceman in the comic books, is gay. Now, who knows if there's a connection there? I'm not here to make a distinction about that. I don't know. But there was somebody, I made this video on short form on TikTok and Instagram. Somebody in the comments said something interesting. They said, in the comic books, Bobby Drake, Iceman, was a womanizer for a long time. And that was because he did not realize that he was gay. Now, I don't know if that connects. I don't know if there is some type of connected tissue there between Aubrey Drake Graham and Bobby Drake Iceman. But I do feel like if we keep going down this road and the more music videos that we see, I do think there's going to be more and more connection to the Iceman character and not just the motif in general. Again, believe it or not, listen, this channel is called Song Theory, okay? I am just making theories. I don't know if this stuff is true or not. I would assume that just from understanding how hip-hop artists and rappers and musicians and singers and stuff, they like to make these connections in their music videos. I'd like to think that Drake and his team thought very deeply about this. And if you don't think that's the case, that's fine. But if Kendrick Lamar can do it, if other rappers like Tyler, the Creator, can do it, I'm sure Drake can too. So at this point, I'm excited to see what other stuff that he has coming up, what else that he wants to, show us in these music videos and through these lyrics. And at the end of the day, we're just going to have to wait and find out. But I do want to let you know that in the description below, I am selling mugs. Song Theory mug. Get yourself one today. It's beautiful. They're lovely. And subscribe, like, share. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I'm at 9,100. Okay, so I love doing these theories. I know you guys love them too. I'm going to be doing one. I'm trying to do one as often as possible. So please follow, subscribe, guys. I have so many cool things going on. If you like what you're seeing right here, then do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining me. And I love you guys. Have a great day. Better tomorrow. God bless. I'll see you all later.